A survey of over 2,000 people looked at ways people are trying to stay positive throughout the day. And the survey had some pretty resounding results, with 88% of respondents saying that they view their everyday life as positive. However, 69% of those surveyed said that they still wish they could be more positive throughout the day. The survey was conducted by OnePoll in conjunction with the original donut shop, coffee. And 4 out of 5 people surveyed said thinking positively helps to improve their quality of life and gets their morning off on a positive and right note. Sharlene Lynch is a motivational speaker and thought leader who helps people shift their mindset in order to get them from where they are today to where they want to go. Lynch says that we all have the capacity to live the life that we want to live if we know which direction we want to point our life compass. She took some time out of her extraordinarily busy international schedule to join me all the way from Australia to talk mindset shift, thought leadership, and taking control and direction of your life. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. So Sharlene, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, and I'm super excited to be with you to talk about mindset this morning, and thanks so very much for being here.
Thanks, Kevin. It's lovely to be chatting with you from the other side of the world.
It's amazing what the internet can do, isn't it?
It's one big world, and thank you, COVID. It's made everything all in the same bucket.
Absolutely. Now, Sharlene, tell me about navigating the gap to sort of get from where you are to where you want to be, because I know that's a big component of what you do.
Yeah, so it's human nature to want to fill in the gap. Most of us have an aspiration for having more in life, being more, doing more, sharing more. And then we've got where we are. So there is a gap between where we are and where we want to be. And using tools that thrive can help you navigate the gap.
Absolutely. And tell me, I know your work is all about helping people get effective mind shifts. So tell me, what does it mean to you to effectively shift your mindset?
Yeah, great question, Kevin. So I have I've got a little history of mental health issues, and also come from a challenging background. And I had aspirations for wanting to live a different life, and it seemed to be a challenge to be able to move forward. But I just took one tiny step at a time and started by, instead of calling it mindset, calling it mind shift, because our mind is not set. It's actually malleable. We can move and change and shift. So if we can start by changing the word mindset and start calling it mind shift, that's a really good start. So language is one of the very big things that I lean on to help myself program so that I can reprogram myself and choose to live a different life by changing the way I speak to myself, the way I speak to others, and just keeping a check on my thoughts and also my words.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when we started our conversation today, we talked about how COVID has helped really connect us virtually. So I'm curious to ask you about COVID and the effects you think it had both negatively and positively on the way we approach mindset?
Oh, great question. So at the beginning of COVID, my speaking career was on an upward spiral and I was ready for the next steps. And then literally everything just shut down. And as you know, Kevin, speaking in front of people was very challenging during the COVID space. Yes, and having the tools and techniques in my little toolbox in and around MindShift, I knew that I needed to pivot very quickly. So we shut down here in Australia about the 18th or the 19th of March. And by the 20th, I was heading in a new direction, taking the skill set that I had to speak and now speaking on camera. So I pivoted within inside a week and we moved our events that were in person to online. And then we got the other states to do the same thing. And then we basically just created a new skill set, speaking to the little black box, and helped others jump on board as well. And took the skill sets that I had about speaking and body language and people that were already on the speaking circuit, seeing whether or not they needed assistance to learn the new skill set, which is speaking to the little black box. So that's what I've been busy doing, teaching body language for mastery and influence to people who are already speakers, but how to actually use that for camera work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you, COVID has taught us all how to be nimble, hasn't it?
Yes, we've learned new skills just on a daily basis. And you know, for me, it's meant less hotel stays, less airplane flights, and more time at home. I can go from a meeting in one country to a meeting in another country, and I don't even leave the room. So it's got its really great sides. For me, the family, we've spent more time together during COVID as well. Adelaide was unlike anywhere else. We really only had very short stays. So I think 2 weeks was our longest lockdown, and then 3 days was our next. So we really didn't have it like the rest of the world. Yes, and it's still that close contact and staying together as a unit really did make a difference. So I know that there's been negatives all over the world. It's more challenging for me to see that in the environment that I'm in. I've got empathy for other people and the challenges they went through. But for me, it was an opportunity for growth and expansion and an opportunity to do small acts of kindness, just to do little things that could make a difference. Delivering toilet paper to the neighbours if they didn't have toilet paper, just the little things that make a difference.
It certainly does. And there's nothing like your own bed, and when you can sleep in your own bed, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
I love my bed. If I could fit it in the suitcase, I would. There's nothing like coming home to sleep in your own bed, and it's great when you can work and still get to sleep in your own bed. There's nothing more amazing than that, Kevin.
Yeah, Charlene, I wanted to ask you about mindset as it relates to unity and building bridges of acceptance. You know, we live in such a fractured world, you know, with people being so territorial in their thinking. So I'm curious to ask you about shifting your mindset in order to build more bridges of both acceptance and unity. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. So MindShift is basically an acronym. So I'll just run through the acronym and then it will give you a better idea to how I'm answering that question. So the shift process is 5 letters. The first letter is S, and that's to see the big picture. And to answer your question from that perspective, let's just see the big picture of, you know, humanity and this global planet. We're all living here together and we all come in all shapes and sizes. And yes, we're still human. So I think that when we come from a bigger global picture of what's possible and that everything is a beautiful mosaic and all put together, it makes a wonderful picture, then we can see the big picture and look at it from that place. H from the shift process is hone in on reality. So where are we right now? What we learned through COVID is that we need to acquire new skills. And a great opportunity for us to hone in on reality where we are right now is to reach out to others who'd already been working in isolation and have acquired these skills that we needed. So it really gave us an opportunity to reach out to other people who were immobile, or reach out to other people who've worked remotely for one reason or another. And they had skill sets that we could lean into. And I found that we gave us an opportunity to learn more. The next letter in the shift process is I, and that is implement quick wins. And, you know, just those really quick wins of making relationships with other people globally, internationally, of all shapes and sizes, it really has made a huge difference for us in being able to move forward. I think as a planet, being able to implement these quick wins and learning from other people, and just one big group of diversity so we can move forward. The F stands for focus on the patterns. And I really think that during COVID, it gave me an opportunity to go within and spend more time on thinking where I am, what I want to do, what sort of a legacy do I want to leave, what sort of a difference do I want to make, and really focus in on the patterns of behavior that haven't been supporting me. And T in the shift process is take massive action, or take massive imperfect action, because I'm a recovering perfectionist. So for me, it gave me an opportunity to see where I can lean in and step up in how I can contribute to the world. And during that process, we started a charity, and the charity is called Healing Through Love. And that is to create awareness in and around domestic violence and a soft place to land for those survivors.
Yeah, fabulous. It's very important to build a community of support, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, I know that you also work with people for them to find their confident voice. So tell me about finding your confident voice and then developing the communication skills to make it a sustainable effort.
Yeah. So, you know, it's really some simple processes in around finding your confident voice. And, you know, how you breathe is one of the things that makes a difference. A lot of the people that come to me to be able to speak in public, the challenge is that they're feeling very nervous. So just taking them through some breathing processes, just so that they can feel more comfortable, even just changing, instead of breathing from up here, breathing from down in the diaphragm, that's going to help them make relaxed. Get them into state before they go to speak. So getting them into a place where they're feeling excited, you know, getting those butterflies flying in formation so that they can really greet the opportunity to have a conversation as well. So that really helps with a confident voice. Remembering to pause is very important. Sometimes when we get really nervous, we talk really fast, and the challenge is people can't understand.
It's nothing to leave it for. Yeah, absolutely.
So slowing that down makes a big difference. And some really easy tips, Kevin, are simply just breathing through the nose. When we breathe through the nose, we can't speak unless you can play the didgeridoo. You can't speak and breathe through the nose at the same time. So when you're breathing through your nose, you're slowing down that, and you're not that incessant talker as well. So yeah, so there's some little tips and techniques that we can help people with to get really confident, and just with their breathing, and to be in state so that they can have that confident voice. The other things are pitch as well. So when we get nervous, we sometimes speak up here, and that's really hard to listen to for any length of time. So just lowering the pitch a little, and that comes with slowing down your breathing, breathing through the nose, and using your pauses too, because pauses are really important. Did you know, Kevin, that pausing when you speak makes you look more intelligent?
I didn't know that, but thanks for the tip. You know, I do some public speaking myself, and you know, here in Canada, I'll tell you that this week is National Accessibility Awareness Week. So as soon as I jump off this call, I have to go into a public speaking panel. So I appreciate the tips.
That's fantastic, Kevin. I've actually applied for a speaking competition in Canada called Speaker Slam. And the competition is to deliver a 4-minute talk on healing.
Oh, fabulous. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that. And tell me, you know, Sharlene, I'm going to share just a little bit about myself. So I was actually born with what's called spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. Simply means that I don't have enough oxygen in my legs to walk normally. And one of my purposes and passions in life is to develop and promote diversity, equity, and inclusion on behalf of folks with disabilities. So I'm wondering your thoughts on how important it is to live and to promote diversity for folks with disabilities.
Oh, so I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. The challenge that I've seen is that not all disabilities or being ably different are visible. So I've come from decades of mental health issues, and the challenge in that space was that people assume that you are quote unquote normal, and when you don't behave as they're expecting you to, then you feel first of, and you would understand this too, Kevin, you feel it face to face what it feels like to be shut down, because they don't understand why you're behaving the way that you are because of the challenges that I was having. And so I understand. And if I had an answer for you here, I'm not quite sure what it would be. I do know that bringing compassion and empathy and understanding, and not just assuming that everybody's the same. And we don't know what it's like to walk in someone's shoes. We don't know what's happened to them, even just during a day. And we don't know how short their fuse is. So I feel that bringing compassion and empathy and understanding, and not making assumptions when we're dealing with people, just holding the space for them, being curious, leaning in and listening to what they've got to say, and trying to see the world through other people's eyes as opposed to seeing it through ours. Because, just the simple things make a difference for everybody. And it could be, opening a door when you walk through for somebody, or it could be absolutely anything. For me, it's just when somebody looks and smiles and nods and just gives me recognition, even if I'm having a bad day. So really, let's bring some empathy and compassion to the world, and know that we are just one big mixed bag of lollies, and we're a beautiful mosaic, and it takes all of us to make this beautiful planet, and everybody brings their own special magic to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Diversity is a strength, isn't it?
Absolutely. The best businesses in the world are diverse. The best teams in the world are diverse. And that's what makes them strong, is that diversity. It brings lots of different viewpoints and angles to it. It makes it stronger.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that I live my life by, is it's important to celebrate the wins in life, no matter how big or how small. So I'm wondering, when everything in your world sort of comes to a head, how do you remember to celebrate the wins in life and really take stock of the progress that you've made?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kevin. So I am absolutely an advocate for celebrating wins, and I do this with my clients all the time. It doesn't matter if it's a small win or a big win. So this, I really learnt this when I was looking at implementing quick wins. So I had been drinking for 30 years, and try as I may, I wasn't able to give up alcohol, but then I gave up drinking coffee. And so it was like, whoa, okay, I was an 8-cup-a-day girl, and I gave up drinking coffee. Do you know, if I gave up coffee, maybe I can give up alcohol. And it's implementing those quick wins. So I really know firsthand that it's the celebration of the small wins that help us believe that other wins are possible. So, it doesn't matter what it is. I've got a list of things that make me feel fabulous. So having a bath, going for a walk, watching a movie, reading a book, like all the things that make you feel great. When you've done something, whatever the success is, bringing on a new client, standing up, doing a public speaking opportunity, writing a blog, whatever it is that you've done that you want to celebrate, make sure you find something that makes you feel good to celebrate it. And make sure that they're in line with the big goal too, because one of my favorite things is to eat ice cream, but I'm also trying to lose weight to get into a wedding dress. So we want to make sure that the wins are celebrated with something that's congruent to the end goal. That's very important.
Yeah, everything in perspective and moderation, right?
Absolutely, Kevin, absolutely.
Yeah, and then tell me, my staff told me in preparation for this that you used to be a belly dancer, so I'm curious to get your perspective on that part of your life and what it meant to you.
Oh, Kevin, I love it. Well, it's not that I was a belly dancer, it's that I still am. So I was a choreographer and a dance teacher, and now at 55, I still dance. I dance with a group of girls that are all over 50, and we perform in aged care facilities and at fetes and functions and such. So we get together every week and we rehearse and we perform on a weekly basis. So, I believe that it's great to have a hobby that keeps you fit. So if you can have a hobby that makes you money, a hobby that keeps you fit, and a hobby that makes you feel good, I think you've got life sorted.
Well, I'll put that in a bulletin board in my office so I'll remember it, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I have to tell you, you look fabulous for 55.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. I don't feel a day over. I'm going to say 45.
Of course not.
But it's the daily things that we do. So, taking care of ourselves, making sure you're drinking enough water, getting to bed at a good time, doing prayer, doing meditation, doing your skincare, doing all the things that make you feel great. And, one of my affirmations on a daily basis is I get younger every day. So, it's the words that we use that we program ourselves to move forward. And if you can find affirmations that support you to get you from where you are to where you want to be, to move through that gap, and you're saying them on a daily basis, you're reprogramming yourself for success.
It helps with perspective too, doesn't it?
It does. It certainly does.
And Charlie, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about living in Australia and why you love it so much.
Oh, there's so many reasons. So I live in Adelaide, which is really, Kevin, like a very big country town. So we say there's a book that's written 6 degrees of separation. In Adelaide, we think it's 0.5 degrees of separation because everybody you meet knows somebody else. And if you ask enough people, you'll meet somebody you're related to. So it's just like a very big country town. It doesn't move fast, so it's not like New York or Sydney. It's a slower moving town. People are really friendly. They will always go out of their way to help people, a complete stranger. It's a safe place to live. It's very beautiful. It's right in the middle, so it's cradled with hills on one side and the sea on the other, and everything takes 20 minutes to get to. So it's 20 minutes from the hills to the sea. It's unbelievable. It's only 10 minutes to the city, and we're in the suburbs. So it's a smaller version of a bigger town, but it's got all of the wonderful country village perspectives than it does have a city perspectives. And it's very clean as well. I love the animals here in Australia. I love the way that if someone's down, we jump in and help them. We've got a very great community spirit here, and someone's always raising funds for something, and that's what everybody does. And it's like one big happy family. Everybody steps in and makes a difference. And Australia, I've traveled the world and I still keep coming back because it is just it is the lucky country. It's the lucky country. And not only does you feel like you can feel it here, it feels differently. It feels ancient and warm and comfortable, but it's also just full of a whole mixed bag of lollies. Like, because we basically, we're from all over the planet and we've come to live in Australia. We are just a very, very diverse culture. You can have Chinese food on one end of the street and then the other end is Italian. And then in between, there's about 4 churches. So it's just a very, very diverse. Adelaide's called the City of Churches. It's a very, very diverse country, and I love that. And we embrace diversity like I've never seen any other country, because we are a mixed bag of lollies. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a small world after all, isn't it?
I love that song. It's my favorite ride at Disneyland.
Of course. And tell me, my final question for you this morning has to do with your own individual and personal legacy, and how you want that to be defined both professionally and personally.
So for me, in 2011, after losing my beautiful baby boy, for me, that was like a line in the sand, because there was no legacy. So I had to step back and feel into what I would like my legacy to look like. And for me, it is raising the frequency of the planet. I know that I can make a difference for other people with the coaching techniques and helping them stand up and share their confident voice. And by raising the frequency of the people around me, then they raise the frequency of the people around them. And all in all, we raise the frequency of the planet, because a rising tide rises all ships. Everybody goes up. So my legacy is definitely to live, love, learn, and leave a legacy, and to raise the frequency of the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Sharlene, if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way they can do that?
Oh, Kevin, thank you for asking. So you can find me on the website, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and it's Sharlene Lynch. So Sharlene spelt with an S. So the American spelling's with a C, but I'm Irish descent. So it's with an S, so Sharlene, and last name Lynch, Lynch. And you can find me, I'm everywhere. Please connect. I'd love to have a conversation and see how I can serve.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I have to tell you that this was a spirited, energetic, and delightful way to start my mornings here in Windsor. And I want to thank you for staying up across the pond to have this great conversation about mindset shift and life and personal development. Your work in the space and time on my behalf is most appreciated. I want to thank you for being here.
Oh, blessings, Kevin. Thank you very much. Bye for now.